Today we're going to be looking at a build for our companion, Camellia. Camellia starts out with very high dexterity, decent constitution, and high wisdom. She also starts out with one level in the Shaman archetype, the Spirit Hunter. The Spirit Hunter trades out Wandering Hex and Wandering Spirit for weapon enchants. At first level, Camellia gets Weapon Finesse, which allows her to use dexterity for attack rolls rather than strength, and she also gets Skill Focused Trickery. So she can probably handle all the trickery checks for any group she's a part of. Now, the Shaman is a full Divine Caster, and I'm going to keep this build kind of true to Camellia's character and her story, and we're going to go 18 levels of Spirit Hunter. What's going to make this build unique is what we choose with our Mythic abilities. We're going to be taking a second Spirit, which is actually going to turn Camellia into a really high AC frontline melee character that also specializes in tripping. I'm a really big fan of tripping builds and Aspect of the Wolf. I just got done with a Freebooter Trickster playthrough that specialized in tripping, and being able to add that trip every round as a swift action really makes the gameplay more enjoyable and engaging. Unfortunately, one of the prerequisites for tripping builds is having 13 intelligence, so we are going to have to wait until later in the game when we get a +4 intellect headband before we can actually pick up those feats. Now, starting off at level 2, I take another level in Spirit Hunter and I take the Ice Plant Hex. This gives you a +2 natural armor bonus that stacks with all other natural armor bonuses. At level 3, we're going to go Spirit Hunter. I'm going to take my mobility up to 3 so that we can fight defensively and get an extra point of AC. And our feat at level 3 is going to be Weapon Focus, and we're going to stick with Rapiers. The Shaman spell list is kind of unique. It's like a combination of Cleric, Druid, and Witch spells. It's got a really interesting mix of CC, healing, and buff spells. For the most part, I think for this build, we're going to focus on Camelia's self-buffing ability. She's going to be responsible for buffing herself. At level 4, we're going to bump up our Dexterity, bump up our Trickery, and our Hex at level 4 is going to be Battle Master. Battle Master gives us an extra attack of opportunity each round. We're really going to get a lot of use out of that when we start tripping things. At 8th level, we get Weapon Specialization for free, and also at 16th level, we get Greater Weapon Focus for free. Level 5, take Trickery, Stealth here, and at level 5, we are going to take Fencing Grace with the Rapier. This is going to add our Dexterity to damage instead of our Strength modifier here. So she has very high Dexterity. We want to make the most out of that. At level 6, not a whole lot going on there. Get your skills out of the way. Unfortunately, the Shaman class, and with her low intelligence, she really doesn't get a whole lot of skill points. But at least she'll be really good at Trickery. And at level 7, we are going to take Outflank. At level 8, more Dexterity. Get our skills out of the way. Our Hex is going to be Intimidating Display. This gives us Dazzling Display as a bonus feat. Alright, and our bonus feat from Battle Master, we're going to take Weapon Specialization for our Rapier. Also at level 8, for our Battle Spirit, we get an ability called Enemy's Bane. So as a swift action, we can cast the Bane special property onto our weapon, which gives us an extra +2 enhancement, and it also gives an extra 2d6 damage. What's really cool about this is if your weapon already has the Bane special property, it increases the additional damage by 4d6. Now that's amazing. So somebody in the group, because you fight so many demons, somebody in the group has got to have Crusader's Edge and keep that on Camellia, because she'll be getting +2 to enhancement, plus 66 extra damage on every strike with this ability. And you get to use it 3 plus her charisma modifier per day. So that would only be 4 times a day, but for 4 minutes, that's pretty solid. At level 9, we are going to take Shatter Defenses. And this allows you to attack flat-footed AC on shaken targets, so you want to make sure somebody is intimidating at this point. And you can see here, if we're looking at the Shaman spell list, it's really weird. You've got like Baleful Polymorph, Cave Fangs, some healing spells, Call Lightning. It's a real mixed bag of things. True Seeing is really great at this level. I'll do a little breakdown of spells after we do our Mythic Path. Our Hex at level 10 is going to be, we're going to go down here, we're going to grab Secret, and we're going to take Heightened Spell. We're going to do this for a couple of reasons. Number one, the Shaman spell list has a lot of CC that's pretty decent with Camellia's high wisdom. But also with her bonus spells that we get from her spirits, sometimes they overlap, and you can only cast your bonus spells in one slot. So sometimes you need to heighten those spells so that you can get them to another level to be able to cast them in one day. I'll show you what I mean in just a minute. At level 11, we're going to take the feat. Now at this point in the game, you should have found a +4 intelligence helmet. So that's why I was holding off on these trip feats. We're going to take Combat Expertise, which on its own is actually pretty decent. I like to keep this hotkeyed, and if you know, my person starts getting attacked and taking damage, you can turn this on and off to sacrifice attack rolls to get a dodge bonus to AC. So that's nice. We also get 6 level spells. At 12th level, we're going to bump up our Dexterity. Our Hex at 12th level, I'm going to pick up Fortune here. Fortune allows us to reroll, for one round we get to reroll any, basically any d20 roll and take the better result. And at 8th level and 16th, it's extended for one round. You can only use this once a day. It's not amazing, but it's something. At level 13, we're going to start taking our trip feats. Now we're taking trip feats because once I go over the Mythic Path, it'll make a lot more sense. Around level 9, we're going to take the Mythic Ability Second Spirit, and we're going to take the Nature Spirit, which gives us Aspect of the Wolf as a bonus spell. Now very few classes, I think only Druid, Ranger, and Hunter get Aspect of the Wolf, and it allows you to make trip attempts as a swift action every round. So at this point in the game, every single round we get to make trip attempts. So we want to make those trips as effective as possible with trip feats. It's 7th level spells there. Level 14, Spirit Hunter, not a lot going on there. At level 15, we're going to take Greater Trip. And now when we make a successful trip attempt, we get to make an attack of opportunity. So this works actually even if the enemy is immune to the prone condition. That means getting knocked down. So even if they're immune to prone, if you successfully land the trip, meaning your combat maneuver roll beats their defense, then you get an attack of opportunity. So every trip that lands, if they fall down, we get 2 attacks of opportunity, which is really great. And the whole party gets that. So that really kind of turns the front line into a blender. We get some decent spells here. Firestorm is a great offensive spell. Stormbolts is another great offensive spell. Those are 8th level spells. Level 16, bump up your Dexterity again. Our Hex at level 16, I believe at this point I'm going to take Evil Eye, which will give us some nice penalties to ability checks, attack rolls, saving throws, or skill checks against an enemy. Our greater weapon focus is going to be Rapier, of course. We're going all in on Rapiers, and there actually are a lot in the game. We get from our Battle Spirit, we get Paragon of Battle, which as a standard action, it says standard action, but here in the casting time it says swift action. I'll have to test that. We'll figure it out when I do the demo. We'll see if it's actually swift or standard action. But we get Enlarged Person and Divine Power for 1 minute, 3 plus Charisma mod times per day. So this is a great ability here. At level 17, Spirit Hunter again. Our feat is going to be Furious Fall. Now that we have such high dexterity, we're going to add that to our tripping attempts. Our trips are going to become a lot more successful now. And we also get 9th level spells. We get some great 9th level spells. At level 18, our last level of Spirit Hunter, our Hex is going to be, I'm going to go with Hampering Hex here. I might have bumped this up in priority actually, because it also affects the target's combat maneuver defense, and we really want that if we're tripping. So popping this hex on somebody, which will give at 8th level a -4 penalty to their defense, and then landing trips on them will be a lot easier. And this is exclusive to Battle Spirit Shamans. At level 19, we're actually going to go into the Instinctual Warrior archetype for the Barbarian. Now, it might seem like this goes against her character. She kind of plays a dainty child from a wealthy background. But the idea of her being, and I don't want to give any spoilers for her story, but the idea of her kind of being taken over by something subconscious and going into a frenzy, without spoiling too much, let's just say that really fits Camellia. So we're going to go with this archetype. At level 19, we're also going to take Agile Maneuvers. And this is basically going to allow us to add our huge dexterity bonus twice to tripping attempts. Once from Fury's Fall, and this changes our strength bonus to dexterity on our combat maneuver bonus. We also get Focus Rage, which is going to increase our attack rolls by +2, and also increases our wisdom by 2. So all good things. Now you can't cast spells while you're in this, so you definitely want to buff up before you pop your Focus Rage. But this is going to be very helpful for us later. And we also get to add our wisdom bonus to initiative checks. So this really synergizes with Camellia having a very high wisdom score. And our last level is also going to be an Instinctual Warrior. And the second level of Instinctual Warrior allows us to add our wisdom to AC, and we also get Uncanny Dodge so that we can no longer be flat-footed. And our last point goes into dexterity as well. Alright, so taking a look at our mythic path here. Now, Camellia is really somebody who looks after herself, so I'm not going to get abundant casting to get a bunch of spell slots for buffing her party. I'm going to focus on buffing, she's going to focus on buffing herself and making those spells last. So I went with Enduring Spells at Mythic Rank 1. You can't see it here, but I took extra Mythic Ability and I went with Greater Enduring Spells. So now all of her minute per level buffs are going to be 24 hours. And she gets a lot of really great minute per level buffs. And then Mythic Rank 3, which is about character level 9 if you play with the full party, we went with Second Spirit Nature. And this is a really strong choice. Not only is it a strong choice mechanically, it also kind of changes the way she plays because we get Aspect of the Wolf. So now she can put out trips every round, and that's what we've been building towards this whole time with all those trip feats. You also get Sea Mantle, which is a great spell. It's an additional 8 AC and full concealment from ranged attacks and immunity to fire. It's probably one of the best defensive self-cast buffs in the game. And we also get a fully leveled Animal Companion. So really a lot of amazing things for this one mythic ability here. At Mythic Rank 4, Weapon Focus Rapier, we get to double our Weapon Focus and Greater Weapon Focus, so this is like another +2 to hit. Archmage Armor, you can benefit from this when you're getting Mage Armor from potions, so they're really cheap and plentiful, so just always have Mage Armor potions, and then she'll get a bonus to her armor equal to her Mythic rank. At about this time in the game, Mythic Rank 6, we hit like level 18 or 19, so we went with Limitless Rage so that we can benefit from those Instinctual Warrior levels. And then finally at Mythic Rank 7, we went with Ever Ready. We're getting a lot of attacks of opportunity from trips and outflank and so forth, so we want to make those attacks of opportunity hit really hard. Alright, so just a quick look at the spells here. As one of her domain slots, or it's not domain, her bonus spirit spells, she gets an Enlarged Person, so this is pretty nice. I don't think you would cast this on Camellia though, because she loses dexterity and she gets a -1 penalty to hit, so you probably want to cast this on another strength melee person. We also get Remove Fear and Unbreakable Heart. These are nice spells because they will suppress fear and negative emotion effects. If somebody's like, frightened or has rage cast on them or crushing despair or something like that, you can cast these spells on them and it will suppress those effects. Entangle's a nice AoE kind of crowd control. It'll freeze things in place if they miss a reflex save, so that's always nice. At second level, she gets her stat buffs. I'm probably going to use those on Camellia. And she also gets bark skin, which is important for her because she has a necklace, like a quest item, that's bound to her and she can't take it off. So the neck is usually where you get natural armor buffs, so she's going to need that bark skin. False Life is a nice self buff for extra health. She gets Sickening Entanglement, which is kind of like Entanglement but a little bit better. Third level spells, Magical Vestment. This is a solid buff to AC. It is a spirit magic slot, so she can only cast this once a day. It is hours per level though, so that's all you really need. Some basic utility stuff. I'm just going to point out the good spells here. Dismissal is really nice. We see a lot of demons, and this is basically a save or die spell if you cast it on a demon that's not in the abyss. So this is nice. You might want to heighten this to other levels as well. Divine Power is a really great self buff. Gives you luck bonuses to attack and damage, as well as an extra attack per round, like haste. Fear is usually pretty good CC. Cape of Wasps gives you a little bit of concealment to ranged attacks, and also gives you some damage for anybody that hits you. Spike Stones gives you, kind of creates an area on the ground that causes people to move at half speed. They take damage while they're moving through it. It's really great when you need to kite like a dangerous enemy, or when you're trying to, you need to retreat and get some healing or something. Spike Stones is really helpful. At 5th level, we get Animal Growth for our pet. This really increases the damage of your animal. This is where our spirit magic slots kind of conflict here, because Righteous Might and Aspect of the Wolf are both pretty good. So this is where you might want to heighten Aspect of the Wolf, or if you just want to get more Aspect of the Wolf casts per day. Say if you don't want to go Enduring Spells, you could go Abundant Casting, and you can get Aspect of the Wolf in the 5th and 6th level slots here. Baleful Polymorph is another kind of save or die. Oh, this one's interesting, Cave Fangs. Cave Fangs gives you a buff for 10 minutes per level that allows you to place a trap as a free action every round. And every time you place a trap, it reduces the duration of the spell by 10 minutes. So it's kind of like this. Well, I've already cast it. I cast it on myself, and then I get this buff. And this allows me to place a trap on the ground, like you can see I already have here. And I can do that as a free action every round. So this is actually a really great addition to her action economy here. At level 6, we get Banishment, which is basically AoE dismissal. You can dismiss up to 2 times your caster level hit dice of demons. Very helpful. Create Undead's a pretty good summon. True Saying Communal is amazing. I heightened Aspect of the Wolf so I could get that in my spirit slot here. 7th level, we get some great spells and buffs. In our spirit slot, I'd probably go with Firestorm. Firestorm's very powerful AoE damage. It only targets enemies, so you can cast it on a pack of enemies that also has your party inside of it. Creeping Doom is one of the strongest summoning spells in the game. Swarms are able to do their damage consistently every round without making an attack roll, I believe. I'm pretty sure that's correct. So this is like guaranteed damage every round. They're also hard to kill. Legendary Proportions is a nice buff to strength, constitution, armor class. You could also cast this on your party as well. Strength melee really get a lot of benefit from this. In level 8, or at level 8 rather, we get some great spirit slots here. We get Frightful Aspect that we can cast once. We get Sea Mantle. So what we'll want to do there is we'll cast one, jump into our spell book, memorize the other, and luckily she's got Arcane Bond with an object, so now we can cast the other spell. Now these are 2 of some of the best spells in the game, so you definitely want to have both of these up at the same time. At 9th level, we get Winds of Vengeance, which is a really great spell. It gives you total concealment against ranged attacks. Anybody that hits you takes 5d8 damage and is knocked prone. You get increased movement speed. And then Foresight, you're never flat-footed. You get a +2 insight bonus to AC and reflex. So a really powerful buff there as well. I don't see us ever casting Shape Change. Unfortunately, you can't heighten spells up to 9th level. I don't know if that's a bug or if that's in the description. If you could, I would definitely heighten some other spirit magic spells to get a 9th level, because I'm really not going to cast Shape Change ever. Now, unfortunately, I really don't have a good demo for you because, well, I killed Camellia as soon as I possibly could in my campaign, so I had to go back to a save file from when she was level 3. And, you know, her killing the level 3 mobs at level 20 is not going to show you anything. I did do some attacks. She has something like plus 55 to trip. She can get up to around 70 AC with all her buffs. She's got some really good self buffs. Just with her self buffs, she gets up to somewhere around 60 or so AC. And I'm sure there's other things we'll find in the game and other party buffs that I'm not thinking of right now. All in all, she'll make a really solid frontline melee character with some utility, can take a punch, and brings a lot to the party. Alright, that's the build. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.